You are listening to Down Home. From the basketball court to the boxing ring, the soccer field to the tennis court, Black athletes have not only revolutionized their sport, but also shaped global culture. These athletes didn't just play, they inspired, challenged societal norms, and redefined what it means to be a global icon. I'm Derek Wise, and on behalf of Jay Jones, welcome to Down Home, the Canadian experience by two black men.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, simple breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, simple breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, simple breaking new ground, breaking new ground.
All right, so black athletes as global icons. Honestly, I had a tiny bit of trouble researching this, only because, like, there's such an American narrative to it, right?
Yeah.
And like, not to say that a lot of these fantastic North American or American athletes haven't changed the game, but a lot of them aren't, like, in my opinion, aren't actually like global icons, quote unquote. Like if you look at like, for example, Steph Curry started coming up a lot, right? And mind you, he changed the NBA with 3-point shooting, right? But is he a global icon? I don't know. Like just to start off the topic, like I think of a global icon like going way back, starting from the beginning of it, like Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Like someone whose persona kind of transcended his sport, right? Like he was one of the first athletes to be like endorsing products, and he had a larger than life persona. Had a reputation for driving fast cars, dating white women, and drinking. You know,
Yeah,
you know
he
what I
did all
mean?
that. Yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest things, well, with Steph Curry, it's a different time, especially with like the way people now focus on brands. Like in the sense of, like, say for instance, Michael Jordan, he became a global icon because he transcended the sport, but it was due to his hard work that got him noticed. I'm not saying Steph Curry didn't put time in the gym and work, but I find today and then is different because a lot of guys don't work as hard and get the recognition already. Like, you know what I mean? So it's different eras and different times, social media. And, imagine Michael Jordan if there was social media back then. Like, he would have had 12 billion followers on Instagram, say. So what I'm saying is, like, I think one of the biggest things is that I think a lot of people just sort of, like Jack Johnson, say, for instance, Muhammad Ali stood on his shoulders and became larger than life with his convictions, right? And Jack Johnson had his own convictions as well. So it's a fine line to define a global icon based on the times. But I think it starts with what they did for their sport and what they did for their community and what they did as a black person,
Yeah. Like in another one that comes to mind, again, going back to old school, like drawing, and I agree with you, like what that individual did for their sport and how they transcended their sport and their community as a black person, like Jesse Owens.
Yeah,
Right.
big time.
That to me is the epitome of a global icon. 1936 Olympics, what he did there, the atmosphere of Hitler and the Nazi Party, especially with what's going on today. And then the guy he was a phenomenal athlete, man. Like he won gold medals in the 100 meters, long jump, 200 meters, and the 4x100 relay, something that actually hasn't been done since.
No, since, it's pretty crazy, especially in those times. We're talking 1940s. It was almost like him against the world, per se. Well, I mean, even though it was everybody against the Nazis, but it was still him in that particular time was pretty phenomenal what he accomplished. I kind of took Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Kareem, and Jim Brown as you know, as Muhammad Ali is probably top notch, just the way he transcended the sport and his accomplishments. Him being taken out of his prime, getting stripped of the title, and standing up with his convictions for his religion, for his his blackness, and then being able to fight all that and come back and still win the championship another 2 times, like 3-time champion is pretty phenomenal. And considering the competition that he fought against, Bill Russell, in the time of the 60s, he was, he won all those championships. He became the first black NBA coach in, ever at the time. And he was also a big civil rights leader. And this just goes to what we talk about. He was in some town where they refused to serve 2 of his teammates. So it was only an exhibition game, but he said, we're not going to play. And they left the state. Kareem also, changed his religion and also was a civil rights activist. And he was also the first guy in the 70s to sort of, when more black people came to the NBA, he wanted to challenge the expectation of what a black athlete is supposed to be under those sort of white kind of expectations, So he rallied for better pay. He rallied for free agency and stuff like that. To me, that is becoming a global icon by what you can do by standing on the shoulders for the generations to come, and they stand on theirs. And also Jim Brown, we all know he was heavily involved in the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
So to me, they're kind of global icons because they transcended the sport, but had a platform to speak those things
Yeah.
in those times.
No, I see your point. I do,
Yeah.
definitely. But we're biased because we're North American, right?
Yeah, true.
So they are icons in their sport, but are they global icons? Is the question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like for example, like Pele.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna try and say his actual name. Edson Arantes de Nascimento.
Mhm.
That's his real name, but Pele. So the thing is that we're everyone, even in North America, knows who Pele is. So he's transcended his sport on a global level,
True,
right?
true, true.
And it was his electric personality, and he was a spokesman for FIFA because
Mhm.
of his deep involvement in it. And to be honest, North America probably wouldn't have had the exposure of soccer that it does now. It's because of Pele.
Right.
Now,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
you know what I mean? But it was, the soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, is a global sport already.
Mhm.
And he was very popular throughout the globe, but Pele brought it everywhere. Similar
Yeah.
to Michael Jordan, like the
Yeah.
reach of the NBA did not go as far as North America until Michael Jordan and his branding
Yeah.
and even like the 1992 uh,
Olympics.
Olympics, right? When it just skyrocketed, and Michael
Yeah.
Jordan was the forefront of that, and through his play and hard work, but also his style, and that became that iconic, you
Yeah,
know,
you're right.
you know what I mean. But I do see your point though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in kind of jumping on that. Another one that we really have to talk about is Serena Williams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the again, phenomenal athlete, uh, and her global reach, and a lot of that has to do with the nature of the game, right? Like
Mhm.
the tennis is a global game
Yeah.
around the world. The championships are everywhere, and she won everywhere. She's
Yeah.
23 Grand Slams. Uh,
24. No, no, you're
24.
right. 23.
Is it 23?
I think she tied Margaret Court, which was
So that's
24.
23. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we can sort of
Well,
we can
well.
figure that out. But I'm actually let me check right now. 'Cause no, that
Well,
I don't.
while you're checking, the uh, the way that she broke down barriers, a lot of the really popular tennis players of today are young black women, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And that's because she paved the way for them. But that's a global reach, right?
Yeah, it's
Global
true.
reach.
You're right. 23. Yeah.
23?
So Margaret Court had 24. So she was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah. Yeah,
tie
and
her. Yeah.
and she's not going to
Yeah.
get there obviously because she's
Yeah.
even though she
Retired.
hasn't, yeah, she's retired, but she hasn't officially retired, which is kind of
Retired. Yeah.
weird. But she's
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gone on to sort of start a whole bunch of businesses and
Hmm.
different things go beyond her sport and get involved with other sports. Just bringing her name is going to carry that sport. She got together with Lewis Hamilton, different things
Hmm.
like that, you know.
Yeah.
What about Magic Johnson? Only because like global icon in the sense of when he got HIV, he brought a lot of awareness to that, and that was felt globally. You know what I mean? And on a North American level, what he did was sort of help inner cities with education and economic kind of development with all the businesses that he opened up. I know that has nothing to do with the, I know that's more of a North American thing, but with the whole AIDS awareness thing, like, a lot of awareness happened just because he contracted HIV, back in the day. And I think he put that on his shoulders as a as an ally and an advocate for what was going on at the time. And obviously, everyone knows Magic Johnson worldwide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
I
I
believe.
think I was expecting you for you to bring them up anyway, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was just bringing him up later,
but yeah,
but
no, Magic I think is closer to a global icon than some of those earlier basketball players that you
you're right.
mentioned.
Yeah,
Like Kareem, the global I don't see his global reach. He's like North American wide, yeah.
yeah, yeah. You're right.
Bill Russell again is global North American wide. He is a civil rights icon North
Icon. Yeah,
American wide, right? For what he did
yeah,
for the
yeah,
game and what he did during
yeah.
back in the 60s. But globally, I have to question that. But
You're right.
Magic definitely, man. Magic
Yeah,
his global reach. And
yeah.
a lot of that has to do with what you were saying, like him coming out and announcing that he was HIV positive, and then coming back to the game, and he was part of that 1992
Dream
team,
team.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, like his global reach and
yeah,
in popularity is not in question whatsoever, man.
yeah. Not to mention all what he's gone on to, like own multiple sports teams, championship. Everything has that sort of magic touch. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure he's well known for it. Like, yeah, him and Bird brought it to a level, and then Jordan,
Hmm.
just took it to another level. But sort of all in the same conversation because they really changed the game and made it all the Europeans got involved in everything, So it was just, a big ripple effect, I believe. But yeah, Magic Johnson, definitely.
Well, there's that saying that Magic and Bird saved the NBA,
Yeah,
and Jordan took it global.
yeah, yeah. True, true, true.
Yeah,
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 the NBA players of today have those three players to thank,
yeah,
literally.
yeah,
Magic and Bird for the league actually sticking around and not
yeah,
not being becoming bankrupt in the 80s, and
yeah,
Jordan for the contracts and shoe contracts that these guys sign.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Endorsements, yeah, became
Endorsements.
a big thing. Yeah,
And Jordan with not to go heavy on basketball, but Jordan the last 3 seasons that he played, the contracts that he signed back then, he signed for $20 million a year, right?
30, I thought.
Was it
Like,
30? I thought it was
yeah, those
20.
2 years, it was like, remember those two
It's
final years?
the
He
two
was like,
final years.
I want to get paid, and he got paid.
And he
And I
got
think
paid.
he was 30 million. You know what Kyle
Yeah.
Lowry made? He was making back in like the
Yeah.
late 90s, which was unheard of.
Yeah, so like price adjusted it would be way more money back in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
90s, right? But
yeah,
the current NBA grossly overpaid contracts, they have that to thank for, right?
yeah, yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. It's true. And where does LeBron James stand in all this?
Again, what you're saying about these athletes of today standing on the shoulders of the icons that came before. I think he does that. I
Yeah.
think he is a global brand.
Hmm.
He's no doubt he's a North American icon
Yeah,
with what
for
he does
sure.
off of the court.
Hmm.
But he's a global brand. I think he's kind of played off. He's in my
Yeah,
mind he's sort of in the same bucket as Curry
yeah, yeah,
on a global level in my
yeah,
mind, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what about Kobe? I
Kobe
know we're heavily basketball, but that's a
heavily basketball, but I don't think Kobe was a global brand like that though.
yeah.
To be honest, man, I think he was a North American brand. He did surpass the game once he retired with some of his production
Where he
efforts and
was
stuff
headed.
like that,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he was
yeah,
headed.
yeah,
But globally, he was recognized. Did he surpass the game like that? I don't think he did.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he had unfortunately never had a chance to with his
yeah,
second career, which
exactly.
would have been a lot different with what he was into and being like a big advocate and spokesperson for the WNBA. You know,
Hmm.
the popularity of the WNBA now is a lot to do with him because he did a lot behind the scenes
Yeah,
that
yeah,
no one really talks about. But anyway, yeah,
yeah.
I see your point though. Yeah, I was just sort of coming from the vein of how in our subject matter in the podcast. I just thought it was important to mention those icons, but Muhammad Ali did definitely
Oh
transcend.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Muhammad Ali definitely. I think
arguably the most iconic, I believe. Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah,
transcended sport. Like
yeah,
yeah, definitely Muhammad Ali and what he meant to the civil rights movement. But beyond that, like you look back at his Rumble in the Jungle with
mm,
Foreman,
yeah.
and
True.
there and even Ali was surprised at his global reach at the time. I remember listening to a interview that he had at the time because cameras followed them around
Yeah,
because
that's right.
I think was it Foreman? Foreman broke his hand or something like that. So
Yeah,
the fight was delayed
delayed. Yeah,
by a couple months, and
yeah,
there's that scene of Ali jogging down a dirt road, and you got
yeah.
all these people running around him, and they're like
Ali Boumbaye. Yeah,
Kumbaya, Ali,
yeah,
boom, and he was
yeah.
like, yeah, man, I didn't know any people knew but that was the reach that he had, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's
Yeah,
funny, I think that even at that time, too, some of the civil rights leaders sort of piggybacked on what he was doing and took the trip themselves to sort
yeah,
of to Africa. Like Malcolm X was there,
hmm,
and different people involved in the civil rights. So I think they understood what his reach was with the people
yeah.
because that's what you wanted to reach, right? So, yeah,
Even James Brown performed before the fight,
yeah,
man.
that's right. Yeah.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground.
You have been listening to Down Home. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, yeah. On a high plateau, from the one down below to the future of the funk, getting lost in the flow. Contact with the spark magex. Now it's time to flex with the force from the soul, reaching all aspects, getting deep, no time to sleep. As you reach your next phase, laying it all on the line. New trails start to blaze. It's a fire inside, a brand new path, breaking down the sum to one. Feeling free, I just laugh with the joy.
The song Breaking New Ground from The Breakdown.
Like magic prescribed, only to see the perfect blend, like a diamond in the rough, ready to drop a perfect gem. It's time to shine so fine to see what you find. Revolution.